when God told me to leave med school. All my platforms blew up at the same time. You would think without eating meat you would lose weight, but you know, fries, that's not meat. That doesn't happen, but God.
I don't forget that I can have this, baby. Nobody else you. Nobody else makes me. Nobody else had a clue what I could do, what I could do.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and Merry Christmas! Today is officially the last day of Vlogmas. I'm very happy because I'm proud of myself for being this consistent in December. I think I missed 2 days and that's just because it was for good reasoning, okay? But I am so proud of myself for posting as many videos as I did. I think I really did a good job of really growing my platform over the past couple weeks, really developing a community with you guys. I got to know so much about you guys and I'm very, very happy that I was able to do this year. So in today's video, I thought to end off Vlogmas, I will just kind of share my testimony for 2022. You guys know bits and pieces about my story this year if you've watched a couple of my videos, but a lot of you guys, it might be your first video that you're watching of me, or maybe the first couple, so you don't really know about me or my story or my journey or what I've really been through this year. So I thought I would make a video kind of just sharing with you guys everything that happened to me this year, and I really hope this video will be something that's encouraging to you going into 2023 and just kind of motivates you to be better and to do better as we move into a new year. So before we get started, make sure that you like this video, give it a thumbs up, click the subscribe button, put your notifications on so you don't miss any of my uploads for 2023. Also make sure you check out my TikTok and my Instagram for daily content. And finally, all my products will be restocked on the 30th, so don't miss out, and our giveaway is coming soon, so don't miss out on that as well. Alright guys, let's get into it. So I guess I will start from the beginning. So I started out this year in January very, very depressed. I was in a very low point in my life. So this was during my first year of med school, and you know, I was coming off the break and going into my second semester, and I just remember I did not start off the year great mentally. I was very down. I was very just lost. I was kind of just confused about where I was in my life and how come I really wasn't enjoying my life, I would say. So I started the second semester of med school, and I remember just not really wanting to come back. Like I think that's why my Christmas break was just so terrible for me, because I just deep down didn't really want to come back for the second semester, just because the first semester was so stressful. I was like stressed all the time. I was eating too much. I was like worried and anxious all the time, and I was just under so much pressure from school, and I didn't want to have to go through all that again, because you know, it slowly builds up as you go through the semester all the way to finals, and then you're like freaking out for like a week trying to get through all these finals. And I didn't want to have to keep repeating that 8 times, you know, for the next 3 years or 6 times. And so I was just very down. I remember one day, this was maybe like the 2nd or 3rd week in January, so maybe like a week after the semester had started, I had talked to one of my friends in med school. I would go over to her house all the time, we would study, and you know, she was like, Brittany, you know, what's wrong? You're not yourself, you're not really trying to study or do all this, like what's wrong? And I was like, I don't feel like doing this. I was like, I don't really feel like, you know, going through all this again. Last semester was so much, I really don't feel like having to do that again. And so she told me, like, why don't you just leave? And when she said that, everything I had been feeling for the past couple weeks kind of clicked. I talked about this a lot in my med school video that I posted, which I'll link, but that really clicked, and I was like, what if I do? Like, that wasn't the typical response that you get from someone who is really enjoying medical school and wants to be a doctor. Like, the second she said that, I should have been like, I am not leaving, you're doing too much, like, I just need to get over this and then we'll be fine. When she said that, I was like, that kind of makes sense of everything I was feeling. What if I leave school? And so for like the next couple months, I would say maybe like February through March, I really struggled to deal with this type of thoughts that I had of leaving school. Like, I really started to question it, and because of that, I just became so mentally confused. I was more irritable and more grumpy, and just like the stress of med school added to the stress of deciding whether you want to be there or not. It made it difficult to do work because, like, am I doing this work for no reason? Am I stressing myself out for no reason? Am I studying, you know, hundreds of slides of PowerPoints every single day for nothing? Like, is it even worth it if I'm not going to be here? So I really struggled with, like, whether I should stay or if I should go. That was so difficult. And I remember at the time, you know, my relationship with Christ, I'm a Christian, so my relationship with Christ was not where it needed to be. You know, before I went to med school, I was like doing the best with my relationship with Christ, but then slowly but surely over the next couple of months and leading up into the beginning of 2022, my relationship with God slowly dwindled. And so when I kind of started making this decision, I started trying to get back into growing my relationship with Christ. So I started, you know, Proverbs is the book of wisdom, so I wanted to read Proverbs in order to kind of figure out whether I should leave or not. I started watching more sermons. I just started praying more and really just asking God like what I should do. And I remember that for 6 weeks I did a fast where I did not eat any meat, which, if you know me, I love meat, so that was very difficult. And eventually, like in March 17th, I ended up getting the answer, and God told me to leave med school. So of course, you know, this freaked me out. I was so scared. One thing about me, I cannot quit stuff. That's, my dad kind of drilled that into me. Like, I can't quit things even if I don't want to do them anymore. So for me personally, I couldn't quit the semester, so that was kind of hard. You know, finishing out, what was this, March, so April and May, so finishing out basically like 6 weeks of med school, like the semester, knowing that it was all in vain. Well, not all in vain, but like knowing that all this work that I was doing wasn't gonna matter because I wasn't gonna use it later on. I wasn't coming back. And so, you know, for the next couple of weeks, I just had the mindset of passing. Like, I went from being a 4.3 GPA graduate in high school, cum laude graduate in college, to just wanting to pass, you know. And that's kind of was my sign of like, okay, this might not be for you if you don't even care about your grades like that. But, you know, during this time, I had packed on about 20 pounds. If you started watching me when I first came on social media, I was like skinny, but when I get stressed and I get overwhelmed, I start packing on weight. And so that kind of hurt my insecurity issues, because I had, for the first time in my life, finally was confident in my body, and then it got ruined, you know, this year when I ate because I was stressed about leaving med school and, you know, all this type of stuff. You would think without eating meat you would lose weight, but, you know, fries, that's not meat. So it was just one of those things where I couldn't handle the stress of the decision plus the stress of med school, and so I just ate, and I gained a bunch of weight. It was also difficult because I didn't tell anyone at the time that I was leaving school, so also keeping that secret kind of didn't do the best things for my anxiety and for my stress and for my mental health. But I will say that, you know, once I made a decision, it did make me feel a little bit lighter, even though I was still in school, and, you know, the depression slowly started to lift, and the, you know, just the weight of that whole making a decision part just kind of was gone. So now I was just stressed about telling my family and actually doing it, right? It's one thing to say you want to do something, but then to actually do it, especially because, you know, leaving med school, that's something you can't reverse. Once you're gone, you're gone. You have to apply and do all this other stuff to get back in again, and you're a year behind. So yeah, that was very tough. That was very difficult. So I started out the year in a very low point. In May, that's when the semester ended. I remember after I took like my last test, I walked out of that building and I just felt relieved. That was it. I was done. I would never have to go back. And so right then is when I really like knew that that was the right decision for me. And so, you know, leaving med school, that meant that I was going to be doing my business full time, and that meant that I was going to be a content creator / influencer full time. So at the time that, you know, I left, so in May, my business was the lowest it had ever been. I was barely getting any orders, like maybe 2 or 3 orders a day. I remember that I typically would sell out of all my products within max a week every single month when I was running my business in med school. But it went from that to like I had to like 200 or 300 of my products like in stock, but no one was buying them, so I just said I was sold out. When it came to, you know, being a content creator, stuff was trash. So at this point I had 1 million followers on TikTok, but I was posting stuff and only getting like, you know, 5,000 views. It was like I was shadow banned. My IG, I mean, I had like 20K. Nothing was working. My YouTube, I don't even know what that was about. I wasn't even really active on YouTube. I just had the account at that point. So it was just like the influencing wasn't happening, the business ownering wasn't happening, and I was just like, God, like, are you sure this is what I'm supposed to be doing? Because right now it don't look like anything's happening. But I remember after leaving school, the stress kind of just fell off of me, which was good because I finally got to rest and get a break from all that goes into med school. And I remember I went on a trip with my best friend in May after the semester ended, and I came back and I just started working when it came to influencing and it came to my business. I would say over the summer, really, so like June and like part of July, I just really started to work on everything. So I spent about a couple weeks in May and June formulating about 5 new products for my hair care line. I came up with like 3 different hair butters plus 2 oils. The product that I was currently selling before that, you can't sell year round, so it was getting to the point where I couldn't sell it anymore. So I had to come up with new products, because if I don't have any products, I can't make money. So that was very stressful, because you know, when you formulate products, you have to invest money into new products, new labels, new containers, new ingredients, all that, and I didn't have it. I remember like I spent maybe like $2,000 on my first, you know, restock of those new products, and I did not have it. Like, I just spent it anyways, right? I didn't have any income at that point because my business was my main source of income. I had just got a new apartment. Like, yo, nothing was working at all. It was bad. And then, you know, I restocked my products on June 15th, and like, it was okay, but I still wasn't getting the orders that I needed to like, you know, pay my bills and like live life comfortably without having to worry about money. And you know, things that picked up a little bit as an influencer, like I started getting a little bit more views just because I had time to actually be more consistent, but it wasn't anything that I needed it to be. And then I remember when it came to my relationship with God, you know, I had bought, like, this is in my how to get closer to God video if you want to check that out. I had bought a prayer journal. I had bought, you know, a Bible study plan, and you know, I had invested, you know, like maybe 50 to 60 bucks just in a bunch of stuff that I could really use to grow my relationship with Christ. I started watching more sermons. I started praying more. It's just like I would wake up in the morning now and I would spend like an hour praying to God, you know, coming to Him for my worries and, you know, doing all that. But basically, that was the first time in my life that I had to walk by literally faith. Like, I had no backup plan. It wasn't like, oh, okay, I have faith in God for this, but if it doesn't work out, I know that I'm gonna be good because of this. Like, no, like, if the business didn't work out, I was done. If the, you know, influencing didn't work out, I was done. Like, everything was just gonna be over. And so it was just like, I knew God had told me to leave, but I didn't really understand why He was telling me to leave when nothing was working out after leaving. But I feel like God was just using me in that season over the summer to really just trust Him. He really wanted to teach me to have like genuine faith for the first time in my life, because I had to depend on nothing, but I had nothing to depend on but what God had said He was gonna do for me. I didn't see any of that at the time. Nothing looked like it was working out at the time, but I think God was really just trying to teach me about how to have faith in Him when things do not look like anything. Like, they look like garbage, like trash. You know, did that for a couple weeks, and finally in July I actually called the med school and told the people that I was leaving, and I had to talk to my parents like a week before I did that, and that was very difficult. And you know, you had to pray and trust God through that, because it's like when you tell your parents that you're leaving med school to have your own business and to be a social media influencer, it doesn't go off the best, you know. And then it's just like very surreal to actually call them and be like, hey, I am not coming back. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm not coming back. That happened. And then also, like, around that time, after telling my dad I was leaving med school, he still pushed me to get some sort of degree. So I decided to go and get my master's in psychology, which I'm currently working on now. But I was like, how the heck am I going to pay for that? Because I don't have any money right now. But, you know, I applied to the program and I got accepted, and you know, I had to figure out how to pay, you know, $2,000 a month for tuition. It was just very, very bad. And then the end of July happened, so really I would say around August, everything changed. My platforms exploded. I don't know what happened. I gained like 50,000 Instagram followers in just a couple weeks. I went from like 20,000 followers on YouTube to like 40,000 followers in a couple weeks. On TikTok, I started every other video went viral. Started hitting every other video. My business exploded. Like, I'm telling you, I went from making maybe like, you know, $300 a week with my business to making thousands of dollars a week with my business. And I don't know how that happened, but God, because I was doing the same thing that I was doing, you know, a couple weeks ago over the summer, and nothing. But then all of a sudden, like I would say end of July, beginning of August, everything just started to explode. I don't know why, the guy just kept telling me keep posting, and I was like, okay, but nothing's happening. He just said keep posting, something will pop off. And I'm like, okay, it's been 6 weeks, I'm still posting, nothing's happening. Keep posting. He said keep advertising your business, keep doing that, it's gonna work out. And I'm like, I'm not seeing it. Like, I'm not seeing the business work out, I'm not seeing the influencing work out, I'm not seeing the platforms grow, I'm not seeing the views grow, I'm not seeing the followers. He said keep posting, okay? He's basically telling me just to shut up and keep posting. I got it, okay? And so he did. It's like, it's crazy, like all my platforms blew up at the same time, especially my Instagram. Oh my goodness, I really went from like 20,000 followers, I have 100K now in just a couple of weeks. It was insane. I still to this day I cannot believe it. Like, how like sometimes people like to chalk up what God does as coincidence. There's no way to explain this. It wasn't no coincidence, it just happened. Did the exact same thing that I was doing for weeks, and all of a sudden after like dang near 2 months, stuff started to pop off. So this is around August, so stuff's popping off, stuff's doing great. I'm like, what the heck? It's to the point where like things got so good that I was like, God, okay, what's up? Where's the other shoe? When's it gonna drop? Because I know you didn't just do all this for no reason. Like, what's going on? Also, let me backtrack. At the time that I was going through a lot, like stuff wasn't working out, I also had issues with my apartment. Like, they were threatening to kick me out my apartment because apparently the people below me were hearing noises that wasn't me, and I kept saying it wasn't me, and they kept giving me strikes on my lease. And then around the time stuff started blowing up, that situation worked out because it turned out there was a noise issue in the apartment that had nothing to do with me. And so it's just like everything that I was stressed and worried about just went away. Another thing that I was worried about as an influencer was like I wasn't getting brand deals anymore. Like, I had stopped working with wig companies because the way that they exploit influencers, I was just losing too much money working with them. They would pay me scraps and then they would make thousands of dollars, and I just was done with that. And so really outside of wig companies, I wasn't working with anybody else. So I was like, most influencers make their money from brand deals. I can't make money as an influencer because brands aren't reaching out to me, right? And so it was just terrible. And then, like I said, around August, stuff started to pop off. Also around August, during that time on my TikTok, I started talking a lot about culture appropriation and like black women and how the hair discrimination we face and the way that white women profit off of it and stuff like that. And I made a video on my TikTok and it got like 1.7 million views. That caused just a crazy amount of attention to come to my TikTok, positive and negative. I got a ton of new followers. I got paid a decent amount on TikTok. People were stitching and duetting the videos, and that led me to be able to go on the Dr. Phil show. So I ended up getting reached out at the beginning of September by the producer of the Dr. Phil show, and they asked me to come on the show to talk about culture appropriation. And so like a week later, I was flown out to LA, got a free trip, got to stay at a super freaking nice hotel, got to be on national television, even though it was a terrible experience being on the television. The reaction to my episode is going to be like linked up here somewhere, but the actual just going on the show got me so much exposure. It's like the second I came back from the Dr. Phil show, like everything changed. I was getting so much more engagement on just all of my social medias everywhere, especially when the show aired. I went from making 5,000 views every video to like hundreds of thousands. Even on my Instagram, like I was posting reels, so I would be getting like 700K views, 800K views, 1 million views. I had a video on my Instagram that I posted about my business that got like 1.5 million views, and my business skyrocketed, right? I started actually focusing on my business Instagram, and I was able to grow. I currently have like 25K on my business Instagram. When I started focusing on that, I had like 2,000 followers. So it's just like everything just started to work out so well. I would repost TikToks onto my YouTube as shorts. I would do that every single day consistently to have content. Those shorts started blowing up. I got like 5 videos that got over 1 million views, and I started gaining followers like that. And I remember up until maybe like November, I was at maybe like 60,000 followers. It was insane. Like, I was like, how does this happen? To go from nothing, like nothing's working, no followers, no views, no engagement, to literally all of my social media platforms blowing up, to literally all like my business just skyrocketing. That doesn't happen but God. That's the only thing I can say, which is but God, because those things don't happen in real life. Those things don't happen to influencers. The amount of followers I've gained in just the past like 3 months, it takes influencers years to gain that. Moving on to October. So in October, I feel like God kind of had to check me a little bit because it's like everything was going so good. So I feel like he kind of had to test my faith again just to make sure I was straight. You know, make sure I like, you know, remember like when stuff was bad, you were, you know, still feeling me, make sure that you could still do that. And so in October, you know, everything kind of dropped a little bit. It was crazy because my business was very low in October, but I was still making more money than what I was making, you know, in June, which was crazy. So low for me was actually high for me back then, which is, that's a blessing in and of itself. But my business had kind of dropped a little bit, views kind of dropped a little bit, engagement, not gonna lie, I kind of wavered in my faith, and I was like, you know what, God, what's going on? And because you know, I said earlier when stuff started blowing up, I was like, God, when's the other shoe about to drop? So I feel like God was just trying to show me the shoe doesn't drop when it comes to me. Like, blessings are blessings. I don't take them away. I don't do none of that as long as you keep me first. Now, I'm going to keep teaching you and growing you, so things are going to like get crazy, but I don't take away things that I give you if you use them for me, which I was trying to. And this entire time, I was reading my Bible faithfully. I was watching sermons faithfully. I was, you know, praying faithfully. Like, I was doing everything I can to put God first. And I talked about that in one of my previous videos. So that was really October. Things are kind of low, but November hit, they picked up. They picked up, especially around Black Friday. So like I said, with my business, I had definitely grown a lot in my business, but like it wasn't nothing crazy. And then Black Friday hit, and I got the same amount of orders during that weekend, so like 3 days, that I get in a month. Actually, I got more orders than I get in a month. And when I tell y'all, the amount of money that I make in a month, I made more than that in that weekend. I was like, God, how? It's a blessing that I'm stressed because I have too many orders, not stressed because I don't have enough orders, right? And I was just like, God, how does that happen? I remember I was like, it was Black Friday. I was at home with my family, and I just remember, you know, midnight hit. I did my little sale that I had. Bing, 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 bing. That's all my notifications is blowing up. I got like 500 orders by like Sunday, and I was like, God, I was like, what the heck, God? Like, I know you playing with me. And I was like, I sold so much that I had to go out of stock for 2 weeks. Because I sold out of all my products. That has never happened since I came out with my products about 6 months ago. I have never been out of everything. I was out of everything. And I had to wait 2 weeks until I got my inventory and stuff. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to restock. So also, something that great happened in November is I got signed to an influencer management company on TikTok. Basically, you know how like models get signed to agencies? I got signed to an agency for my TikTok, which means that I finally had management for my TikTok, which means that they were the ones that were going to be getting me brand deals. So basically what happens is like these large brands do not reach out to influencers like individually. They reach out to influencer management companies, and those management companies will give them a list of their influencers and they pick, right? So I got management, which means I got access to doors and opportunities and brands that I never would have had by myself. So I went from, you know, crying and upset because I didn't have any brand deals to now I'm going to be working with brands that I never even thought I would. So I got managers. They showed me how to make correct content for TikTok that was gonna increase my views and, you know, get brands to work with me. They've helped me so much. I'm already working on one brand deal for them now, and it's just like, it's insane. Cause I remember when I was struggling with social media, I was looking up like how to get brand deals, and one of the things that I saw was people were getting managers. And I was like, dang, I really want management, but I feel like I'm not ready yet. And so I didn't reach out to anyone. And then lo and behold, God let somebody reach out to me. So I got management for my TikTok. And it was like crazy. So it was like, I already saw how much God did, you know, just in the past couple months. And then it's like, really the last 60 days, God's done even more. And then another thing that happened in November is I posted a TikTok video. Basically where I was just like, I was joking around and basically telling black women to stop saying that they can't grow hair, and the video blew up and got like almost 5 million views. That's the second highest video I've ever had on my TikTok, which is crazy that I would get that then. I posted that on my YouTube channel as a short. That video has almost 10 million views, and I was able to grow from like 60, 70K all the way to, I have like 176,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel now. My goal this year was to get to 100K on YouTube, and I thought I wasn't going to make it because 4 weeks ago I had like 60,000 subscribers. So I was like, I probably won't make it this year, maybe, but I don't know. And the fact that I'm almost double my goal in just a month, who does that but God, right? The fact that my goal was to get 100K on Instagram when I started this year, and I only had 20K, right? And here we are. It's like I thought all these goals wouldn't happen because I spent the first half of the year in med school not being able to be consistent, stressed, depressed, all that. And then we over here in December, and I've hit everything. Moving on to December, so when it came with my business, I got restocked, and I was like, okay, we're gonna put all my products back in stock, and I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna be, you know, just normal sales. Tell me why I get the same amount of orders during that restock that I got on Black Friday. And I did not expect that at all. And so I'm telling you, I made about 3,000 hair products just in the past 2 months. And I didn't expect to get that same amount of orders. I was staying up all night, my dad calling me like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I just have to do orders 24/7. Tell me why, when it came to influencing, like I said, I just got my first brand deal from my management that I'm working on, and I just got signed to Shein's influencer program. So they're gonna pay me thousands of dollars every single month and sending me free clothes to make videos with on my Instagram. Like, who does that? Literally yesterday, I just had a sponsored video for these clip-ins that I did. I have not had a sponsored video on YouTube since, like, I want to say maybe like February, right? No one has reached out to me on my YouTube channel. And even then, that person didn't even pay me that video that I had in like February. Now this is that was a paid video. And it was a lot of money for a paid video. Plus I got these fire clip-ins. And I think that covers the entire year really up until this point. I just I'm at a loss for words because I cannot believe that my year is ending on such a different note than when it started. I really want to cry because I know that this was all God, and it's just like, so every single year, at the end of the year, I always have like a theme for the next year. I always have something that I meditate over and ask God, like, what type of motto or theme should I be living by for next year? What can I expect? And so, you know, so going into 2021, again, I said I went viral on social media and started my platform in 2021. So going into that year, I had the theme of God told me something big was going to happen in my life. And I knew it wasn't going to be medical school, even though I was starting medical school that year, but I knew it was going to be something big that I didn't even realize. And my theme song was like Big by Pastor Mike Jr. Y'all know him? Fire. And then going into 2022, I said this year is just going to be about harvest, right? It's going to be about me just really stewarding over the blessings God has given me with my platforms in med school, and just like really focusing on growing and being my best in what God has given me. But something inside me told me that it's going to be the exact same vibe as last year. It's going to be some crazy stuff happening, some big changes, like so many big things are going to be happening to you again. And I was like, I ain't going to be greedy. God's given me more than I could have ever imagined at the end of last year. I'm not going to be greedy and expect him to do that twice, like 2 years in a row. So he's going to harvest. God said, nope. He said, don't put a limit on me. He said, just when you think I've done enough, I'm going to do more. Woo! That's a word right there. And so here we are at the end of 2022. Platforms larger than I could have imagined. Just like literally in the past couple months, like brand deals just rolling in, orders rolling in. I remember like in June, like when I first started like really getting into doing this full time, and I was like, God, I don't understand how you're gonna make this work. And here we are 6 months later, and God's like, what you said? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. You said you were doubting me? Huh? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's really it for everything that's covered my year this year, 2022. The first half was terrible, but looking back, that was just preparation for the second half of this year, because I wouldn't have been able to handle it if I didn't go through what I went through the first 6 months. But again, this video is just really just to encourage anyone that may have had a bad year or may have had a good year this year, and you just don't really know where God's going to take you next year. For me personally, I feel like God's going to have some big things planned for me next year. I'm not sure it's going to be as big as this year, but it's going to be something I feel like it's going to give me consistency in my life when it comes to my career and being an influencer. Consistent finances, consistent, you know, brand deals, consistent opportunity, just like consistency finally with the career, not huge ups and downs, right? I feel like he's going to give me consistent engagement next year. He's giving me the followers. He's giving me the large platforms. He's going to give me consistency. Like, I'm not going to have to worry about posting a video and it only getting like 1,000 views, right? He's going to give me that consistency and that stability in my career, because I feel like I'm finally stepping into my purpose and the woman that God has called me to be. I hope this video really helps you to do the same, and really just to increase your faith in God and know that like he can do things way beyond what you imagine. Like, I don't think y'all understand. 4 years ago, if you would have told me this is what I would be doing with my life, I would not have believed you. This is not something I expected to happen to me. I didn't even want to do social media like that. I was just doing it for fun because I was bored and I wasn't in school and I was waiting to go to med school, so I did it for fun. And here we are 2 years later. This is my full-time career, and I am successful at it. That's the key. I'm a successful influencer. I'm a successful business owner, and I feel like I haven't even tapped into everything God has for me in regards to both of these careers. So I think that's it for this video. I hope that you really enjoyed this. If you did, give me a thumbs up, click the subscribe button, put your notifications on so you don't miss any of my new uploads. I think this will be my last video for 2022. I think I have maybe 1 or 2 more videos I might post. I think I want to do something different to my hair next week, so I'll probably will film that and just have that for you guys. I'm not sure, but I will say that I did enjoy doing Vlogmas because it taught me that it is not as hard as I thought it was to be a consistent YouTuber. Going into 2023, I really feel like I'm going to be able to post actual YouTube videos, you know, 2 to 3 times a week. Going from doing it every single day to only 2 or 3 times a week is going to be a piece of cake. Hopefully you'll follow me on my TikTok and Instagram for daily content, and hair products restart on the 30th, and the giveaway is happening now and you don't want to miss it, so check out my business Instagram. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Merry Christmas. I wish you a beautiful and amazing New Year's, and I just know that God is going to do some amazing, wonderful things in your life for 2023. I will see you guys next year. Bye.
Tell me what you see in me. Gotta be